Matty Durant, aka Mattystuntz, pretty much fell off the map year and a half ago. The guy that innovated high up tilt flying just kind of disappeared. And then all of a sudden, a few days ago, he posted a new flight. It wasn't a full edit. It was just a video of him flying. Matty and I are talking. We're talking today about where'd he go? What happened? What happened in that year while he was gone? It's pretty cool. There's not a lot of FPV. But if you've been curious about where Matty was, this is the episode for you. Before we go any further, I want to thank my patrons. If you're interested in getting a podcast version of what amounted to a 2-hour conversation, then hit the link below for my Patreon. And you can not only get the podcast version, but be a part of my community. I appreciate my patrons, and I thank them. And I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I bring to you the one, the only, the man who has innovated in so many ways in FPV, Matty Durant, aka Mattystuntz. How you doing, man?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing all right, man.
I'm hearing good things about this podcast. I'm liking it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. It's been a labor of love.
Yeah,
quite
so how
quite
long have you been doing this
for? It'll be a year in roughly April. Yeah. So the first person I ever interviewed was Capper, and it was actually kind of almost by accident. It was right around the time that Tyler and Capper became business partners, and Capper slid into a conversation I was having on Facebook or on YouTube, and he said, "Why don't you ask me?" I contacted Capper, said, "You want to come do an interview?" And it just blew up from there. So
now, what was that interview about? Was it about their merger with Race Day Quads or something like that?
Yeah, it was. I think the first question I asked him was, "Did you run out of money?" To which he said yes.
It's not that he ran out of money. It's not that though. I mean, he has money. The thing is, it takes so much money to do this business, and I think that at the same time, people think everyone's getting rich, but they're not.
They're not. No,
I mean,
they're definitely
the
not.
margins are so low to compete with China, and then at the same time, you are doing all this R&D, and then all of a sudden it's changing 6 months afterwards. It's just nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, it I think ultimately the story that came out of it was that they had, like you said, the R&D, the cost of building all the motors, competing with China, things like that. They got, and also the fact that
salaries too.
Salaries.
Some people were on salary and they weren't producing enough, and it wasn't what they were putting in wasn't coming back out in income. Yeah.
So. I think from, I've talked to Chad periodically. I think they're, with the whole Red Cat thing, they're in a much better position now. So hopefully we'll continue to see them for quite a while. But we're definitely not here to talk about Rotor Riot per se. You took a break, all of a sudden there was just I actually went back to your YouTube channel to see when your last post was, and it was about a year ago. So
that post, I think, said I didn't fly for 3 months or something like
that. Yes,
it
did, as a matter of fact. So you took you've taken more than a year off at this point, basically. Tell me.
Before that, actually, I had left for the longest time too. It was it was probably, I've taken so many breaks now. I don't even know which break I'm on right now, but yeah, basically I just needed to really, really focus on getting some investments under control, making money, and getting my family dialed in, because, in that time period, we got married, we had a kid, little baby boy, Bodhi. And
congratulations.
Thank you so much. And we bought 2 houses. We're looking to buy another property to do developments on. So there was a lot of things I needed to do. The first house I bought, I had to do a reno downstairs in the basement to get rental income coming in. rented it out to one of my good buddies, and then we bought another house. Had to do a little bit of tweaking there to get it so we could get our rental income that we needed from that being produced as much as possible. And now it's stuff settled down. Bodie's 7 months now, and he's crawling around, and he's a little bit easier now. I'm getting a little bit more shut eye at nighttime. He's sleeping longer, so like I can sit down and I can start working on quads and start working on other things. So pretty much the break was just because I was so busy. Like I couldn't fly. I had to drop something. I dropped every single one of my hobbies to get where I needed to be in life, where I wanted to be, and everything that's covered, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, that's, I mean, I like as a parent, as a dad, I get that. Like there's like I get to fly if I'm lucky once a week. I'm the primary.
I'm so sorry. My Siri on my computer keeps on going off. What was that you said?
Oh, I said, as a dad, I get it. Like, I'm lucky if I get to fly once a week.
Right.
And
right.
When I do get to fly, it's like sneaking out to fly 4 or 5 packs.
Yes.
And, I'm actually, and my sons are getting into it more. So sometimes we'll go out and we'll fly, and I don't fly. I just spot. I hand them,
and let them do their thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I hand them whatever I have built at the time and say, here you go fly it. And I totally expect it's going to come back in pieces. How do you think that, how has becoming a dad changed your perspective on life?
My brain exploded with so many different experiences. Like it was, anyone that's a parent that's out there knows. And at the same time, if you aren't a parent, get on it. It's amazing. Like I was that guy that was like, I'm going to be single for the rest of my life. I don't want family. And I was preaching that until I was like 34. I met the right person. We decided to have a kid, and it's literally the best thing that's ever happened to me. Like literally, Bodhi has taught me how to love just like any little thing much more. Whether it's people, relationships, food, like he's taught me to love in a way, in a powerful way that I've never even thought that I would be able to. Right. Like I watch stuff on TV now, or like I see stuff where stuff's happened to kids, and I can't even imagine. Like I tear up. I start tearing up, and it's like even today. I was watching 1917, right? And I was like, this is a crazy movie. I couldn't even imagine being in this experience. And then there was a baby, and I'm like, oh my God. People had to live through that, where I'm doing what I'm doing right now with Bodhi, but they're doing it in wartime. Yeah. And it's just so crazy. But it's definitely like preservation of life has totally changed. I was in a bad spot like 2 years ago where I had like really dark thoughts and stuff like that. And like, I would never think about having that now, because it's like, I have something that needs me desperately until, he's 18 at least. But even then it's like, I'll have, grandkids to look forward to. And it is so crazy.
I promise you he'll need you beyond 18.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, it's been like I kind of like, I've got 3 kids. I remember when my oldest was born, and there were some times as he was born that were a little bit rocky. But things sort of settled down, and I remember there's a few memories I have where we were in this condo, and I was trying to teach him the difference between trucks and cars. And we would stand at the back window where there was a road that went behind us, and something would come by and he'd be like, car? And I was like, no, that's a truck. And it was amazing to kind of like experience life through his eyes. Right. Where like all of a sudden you're like, man, this kid is like literally experiencing the world for the first time.
Yes.
And it's my job, to protect him. which is a fierce thing. You know, you don't realize how, and I'm sure you've probably experienced it, but like the minute your child is in danger, there's this thing that kicks in where it's just like, you know.
I'll tell you a story. We were literally just at Costco the other day.
Yeah.
And I'm a germaphobe to begin with. But at the same time, I don't want anyone touching my kid. If I don't know you, you're not touching my kid.
Right.
But the thing is, babies are really super cute, and they bring this like joyful and playfulness out of everyone. And this person was stepping in closer and closer, and they had kids too. And I was just chatting them up. Well, like, how old's your kid? Yeah. And the dad got a little bit too close. I wanted to touch him. I'm like, no, stop it. You know, get the full away. Sorry. Yeah. I want to be nice and talk to you, but don't touch my kid. So I understand. It's even the littlest bit of contact from someone he doesn't know, and I'm ready to just like kill the person. But at the same time, yes, experiencing picking something up and putting it into the other hand.
Right.
It's like I'm reliving that. I'm showing him how to do like the simplest little things that we do every single day. And I'm just having so much fun teaching him how to do those little things. Like me and Jenny are on this guy. Like he's definitely he's only 7 months old, but he's definitely developed far beyond 7 months. So, but we're really hands-on parents, and I don't mind it. You know, it's always at his own pace too.
What do you? And I mean, I know we're eventually going to talk about FPV, but I love to get the perspectives of different people. What do you think has been the most challenging part of having a kid?
I'm so sorry. What was that again?
What do you think has been the most challenging part of having a kid?
Just the sleep. Just getting sleep, man. Like that's it. Like we're good financially, right? We have everything we need. We have everything that he'll need. But it's honestly just I just need more sleep. That's it. But now he's starting to sleep through the night, and I just we slept trained him at 4 months. We kind of believed in the fourth trimester. So we let him go 4 months, let him do whatever he wanted to do. He adjusted really well to us. But at 4 months, we kicked him out of the bed. He's in the crib. But now at 6 months, I've started to not feed him at nighttime, doing the late night feeds. So he'll have his last meal at like 9, wake up at 4, and then I'll bring him into the bed or put him back to sleep, and then he'll eat at 7, go back to sleep for another 2 hours. But all he does is sleep and eat, and he's just crushing it right now.
Is he, and if you don't want to get this personal into it, you're fine, but is he standing? Is he scooting?
Oh yeah. He was standing at, if you go on my Instagram, he was standing by himself at 5 months.
Oh, that's
holding
awesome.
on to something.
Yeah.
And then he was crawling around at 5 months, but he'd crawl backwards. He didn't really know how to do like this. Like he'd do the army crawl. But like even at 6 months, he was doing everything he's pretty much doing now, which is like he'll scoot on, like he'll get up onto the couch. He'll go along the couch. He can like negotiate a bank to get on top of the pillows that we have on the floor, just in case he falls off the couch, and then to get onto the couch, and then to get onto the rim of the couch. So the other day we subscribed to this, talking about my kid more than we're talking about FPV right now, but we'll just
perfectly
get
fine. Yeah.
So we subscribed to this toy subscription that pretty much they give you toys on where you think your kid's developed and what he should be doing, and it gives you tips on how to develop them. And we get like a couple months ahead, because we know like we already ordered the 4 months and he was far beyond that. So we got the 8-9 month package, and it comes with a ball and a hole, and then you put the ball through the hole, and then it slides down this little box, and it makes a noise. And like I showed him it like maybe 10 times, like pick up, drop, pick up, drop. Then I'd switch hands, pick up, drop, pick up, drop. And now he like picks up, drops, picks up, drops, picks up, drops. And it took him literally probably a day to learn that. Yeah. But it's so amazing. I love it. Yeah, love being a dad.
Yeah, I think that there's a challenge that comes with the first kid too, which I think you may be experiencing or you will experience, is you have nothing to gauge it by, right? Like you can go read a bunch of books, you can go read all these things about where children should be or what kind of development they look like, or, my oldest didn't walk until he was 13 or 14 months, and then
but
by the time he was
proven that.
Well, by the time he was 18 months, we were having full conversations with him, which is extraordinarily unusual. I had no idea. Like I was having, like, we were talking back and forth. I mean, his diction and everything wasn't completely clear. Then our next son, the second oldest, he didn't say a word as far as we knew for 2 years. And then one day he looked up at me. We were actually on vacation. We were doing something. And he looked up at me, and the first thing he ever really spoke to me was, "Daddy, I would like to go to the pool."
Wow.
A
so
complete
like
sentence, perfectly clear.
0 to 100.
What we found out later was that my oldest son, he's very outgoing. My middle son would talk to my older son and tell him what he needed. And then my oldest son would come tell us. And so he'd been talking for a lot longer than we expected, but he was using his older brother as a conduit for it. And it's just stuff like that you never expect, you never even know how to predict it. But it can be great. So,
well, I know there's the because your neural connection, like how many neural connections are being developed at that age, are like 10 times higher than ours now, or like something even, I think it might be even like 200 times more. But the thing is, they can only download so much. So he might be downloading something different, which might not be communication. Also, we're a bilingual family. My wife's Taiwanese.
That typically delays
so she speaks
speech.
Mandarin.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she speaks Taiwanese, Mandarin, Cantonese.
Oh, wow.
But we full on, like my mother-in-law speaks full on Mandarin to him. Mm-hmm. Jenny tries to speak in Mandarin, read to him in Mandarin, and then I just do the English part, right? But yeah, there's a little bit of, we'll see what happens. But I think that he was born really long with a lot of muscle mass, and we took him to a party the other day where there was like 15 other kids there, and he was like the 9-month-olds. He was like doing more and was just like a little bit more sturdy than him. But I mean, that's my department. When I come home, I do drills with him, get his motor skills going, and just do like strengthening stuff. So
that's cool.
All the speaking stuff is going to be my wife. So
yeah, and I do know, and I have heard that bilingual or trilingual or multilingual exposure tends to delay full-on speech for a little bit, and a lot of times when they do start speaking, then they end up confusing, because I mean, do you speak Mandarin?
Nah, I know like 一二三四五六七八九十, and then like I can go up from there from the numbers, and then like little things like 快点, ni 快点 means you hurry walk, or 你闭嘴 means shut up, right? I use that one with my wife a lot, but I shouldn't be. But
terrible.
Yeah, so like little things like that, but I can't have full on conversations or anything like that. I can kind of hear what's going on, The thing is that there is the delayed speech, but then he will learn both at the same time.
Yeah, he will.
Because there's just so much that you can do with the wiring at that age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely, and I've got a few friends that have raised their children bilingual, and one of the funniest things I've ever heard out of it is when like in your situation where you don't speak Mandarin fluently, the kid will walk up and start talking to you in Mandarin, and doesn't understand that you don't understand. And it's like, whatever, Dad, I need you to get off the couch and come help me, and you're like, I don't know.
I can't wait.
Oh, and anyways, it's so much fun. And then they get older, and then they become reflections of you, and that's exciting and terrifying at the same time. So
yes.
So, all that time that you were off,
Thought about flying all the time.
You did?
Thought about flying absolutely. How can you not?
I know.
How
Yeah.
can you not? Like, there's a time when you have to grow up and you gotta get
You
to
do,
work,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that's what I was doing. But if you didn't think I would look for flying spots or just
Right.
like think about flying, you're
Yeah.
crazy. Like
Yeah.
you can't fly for that long and then not think of flight afterwards. Like it's just ludicrous, right? Like you'd have to. So yeah, it was never a timeline like it was Matty's quitting the hobby and he's not flying anymore. It's just I had to get to work. It's plain and simple.
Yeah. I get it.
So
Yeah.
But what was your question going to be? Was that the question or like?
No, that was it. Yeah.
You had a question and then I cut you off and I was like,
more in the term, and and you've pretty much answered it, which is just like A, you lacked time, and B, your priorities had to shift, and that doesn't mean that you're like. I think that one of the questions that a lot of people ask is when somebody stops flying, it's like, well, did you burn out? Right? Did you just did you burn out? Did you want to give up? And if so, why? But it doesn't sound like that was your case at all.
No, not at all. I would have probably burnt out if I kept on flying.
Yeah.
And then did what I did because the times that I needed to not do anything was to sleep, pretty much, right?
Yeah.
Like I was full on doing double shifts, then coming home at the same time and taking care of my kid. So, but like right now I'm doing a little bit of a transition in career. So I'm going to have a little bit more time to be able to stay at home with Bodhi and potentially make more money than what I was making at my job. And I'm really excited for that because it's going to be a little bit of the flying aspect too. So selling real estate, developing properties, property management. It's going to definitely be able to give me the tools to be able to I'll have the tools already to just do my own multimedia for my websites or whatever it is.
Yeah, that God, it's so funny. I'm known as the drone guy around here, and all my real estate friends are like, "Hey, can you come film this property for me?" And I'm always like, "Well, technically, no."
Well, the thing is, right before I stopped flying, I bought a nutmeg, and I wanted to use that to start doing a little bit of local real estate stuff for my buddies that sell like crazy mansions, like $20 million places, and in like our real estate in Vancouver is nuts. Like even the properties that we're holding right now, they've gone up like 50%. And
Wow.
I think it's like the third most expensive place to live in the world. But we had this crazy real estate boom. So what I was going to do is just kind of make a little bit more money on the side. You should always have multiple sources of income, and I was going to just start nutmegging in these places to get shots that other people couldn't get, and then I stopped, and then all that stuff happened, but it just fixed. I just built it, and when I released that video, that's what I was flying. It's the nutmeg. I love that thing. I'm having so much fun flying that thing.
Matty is a fierce dad. I have, when I took to fatherhood, it was with a different mentality, a different mindset. Matty is taken to fatherhood in the same way that a lion protects his cubs. I have no doubt that Buddy will be well protected all of his life, and that Matty will do his best to lead him. And that's a great dad to have. In our next episode, Matty talks about what he's flying now, because so far it hasn't been the high up tilt stuff. He's flying something else. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.